Welcome to the Garage Engineer Shop. Today we are working on our personal vehicle. It's a 2016 Toyota Tundra double cab, and we want to add a accessory that's something that's been bothering me since I've owned it. Now in the Toyota Tundras, this is a second gen or 2.5 gen, if whatever you want to call it, you get a power outlet there and there, 12 volts. If you're born in the 80s or 90s or before, these were cigarette lighter adapters, or cigarette lighter plugs, and they were adapted later to power. That's why they are that weird round shape. As you see, the car is off, and there's no power going to, well, that one. It doesn't go to that one. And also, there is a third one here, and no power goes to it. So, when the vehicle is off, if you're sitting waiting for somebody and you want to charge your phone or anything like that, you can't get power without turning the vehicle on. Now, I understand why the engineers decided to do that, because they don't want you to have anything plugged into your vehicle, forget about it, and then have it run the battery down, which I think these batteries are a little undersized for the vehicle anyway, so a lot of draw on it would make it hard to start. But I digress on that part, that I want to be able to have the access of having power even when the vehicle's off, so you can sit there without the engine running and still get a little bit of power. And here's our shot cat. She's welcoming us this morning. She just brought us a little goodie, a chipmunk, and has been teaching her babies how to eat the chipmunk. It's been a very interesting morning. So before we get started, I want to get some tools because I need to determine which fuse is on when the key is off. And this is my power probe. I'll do a separate video to show more in depth on how this works. But basically what we're going to be doing today is you plug in the negative to the battery, positive to the battery, and then when you touch the probe to the wire, that will tell you that it's a positive, and we've actually got it switched, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, let's switch that. Negatives on that side, positives on that side. So it's a little less confusing. So when I touch anything with positive power, you get a red light that tells you it's positive, and if you touch the negative ground, then it'll tell you that's the ground side of the circuit. So all we're really looking for is a red light. Alright, so for the power probe, we connect the positive to the positive battery, negative to the negative, and we will go back up to the cab. And let's see how we can squeeze in there, because this fuse is way up in there. Let's get some light going on here. So I can't see with the camera. I hope you can see, but that's the fuse box up underneath there. So I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show what I'm doing. Let me get the cover off at least. Let's take a look at what we got. So here's our cigarette lighter. They call it SIG. It's power adapters now for the newer folk. The sunroof. I don't have a sunroof, so that's 25 amps. That might be a good place to start, because anything with power, constant power, we'll check that. Front power seat, I really don't want to use that. There is the mirror, that's 7.5 amps. That doesn't get used a lot, but it's only 7.5 amps. I don't know. We might be able to use that. Not the wipers, cargo lamp, no. There's a power outlet there, 7.5 amps. I wonder, we got a cigarette lighter adapter. We got an accessory. I wonder if each accessory has a separate fuse. That's weird, because there's a power outlet. I wonder if that's power outlet for the inverter. I don't have an inverter. No, there's an inverter down there. I don't have an inverter. So I have to look some of these up. But let's take a look at that sunroof. I'm definitely not going to have a sunroof. So let's see if that has constant power. Let's check that first. Alright, so here's that 25, and it's got constant power. So that is where I'm coming off of, because I don't have a sunroof, and there's constant power. And you see right here, I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can turn it around here. Can I do it? There you go. See, I'm hitting the 25 amp fuse, and I am getting a red light. That means there's power. Whereas this one next to it, which is a cigarette lighter adapter. Let's see, I gotta hit it right at a angle. There you go. Can you see? I'm getting a green light hitting that. That means that I'm just getting ground and I am not getting any power, which is true because the key is off, so the cigarette lighter does not work. So if I turn the key on, let's see if we get a red power to prove our theory. So keys on, engine off. All right. So keys on, engine off. Let's see if we can get power now. And you see, we're getting red now, and the radio is on. That means we have power. So that just proves our theory that the sunroof has constant power, and I don't have a sunroof, as you can see. So that's not being used. And the cigarette lighter was off. That was showing the green. That means I was getting good ground, but no power. So we turned the key on, turned on the cigarette lighter plug, and it had power and it turned red. So we're gonna go with the sunroof out circuit. The kit I got, which I'll have listed a link to my Amazon store, which you can purchase it if you'd like, it's more of a marine / auto charger, USB charger. It's got QC3, you got 2 of those, and then a PD, it's a USB-C charging adapter, so it's a more updated version. What also comes with the kit is some wire, an inline fuse, some extra fuses, which is good to have. So if you're like in a boat situation and you need to don't have a fuse right there and you just want to tap off it, then that comes in handy. But because we are adding our own fuse, we don't need this. I like to get these. These are to go in your fuse. It's to split the fuse in your fuse box. So you'll add the fuse, whatever's in there right now, which is that 25. We'll stick it right there. We'll add our 15, and that 15 goes to this power wire. So it doesn't disrupt anything. You don't have to cut any wires or anything like that. You're just tapping on. Since the sunroof fuse isn't used, we're perfect. So now I think I'm going to add the power outlet here. That way, if I did want to charge something, I can just stick it in here and hide it. That way I won't have it sitting out here if I'm ever parked and going like out to eat or something like that. It's hidden. So we need to get these off. Alright, so I've got my trim removing tools. Let's see which ones will work. Let's try these 2. And we're just getting up underneath. Let's see, on this side right here, we've got to pop this off. So we can get to this cover right here. And everything's just put in here by clips. Go. Probably. There you go. Pulled up that one too, but we don't need that right now. Probably a good time to clean it. I don't think this has been cleaned. You got Coke, coffee stains. We'll clean that in a minute. Now we gotta get this piece, and there's just 2. There's seams right here and underneath here. I'll start underneath and the back side so that it doesn't mar anything, but we shouldn't have any problems because this is just plastic. And these are just clips too. Comes out. Oh yeah, this is a mess. We're definitely gonna have to clean, but it gets us access to our cigarette lighter adapter there. It's a clip. So we'll definitely clean some of that out. So now the question is, we've got to run the wire. Oh, there's money down there too. All right, look at all that space. we've got to run the wire from here all the way around. All right, now we got that somewhat clean. Not perfect, but, and it's not going to be seen, but just clean it up a little bit, get some of that stickiness out. Let's go ahead and run our wire. The flavor today is some 14.2 Tyumen. I got this off Amazon also. Key features I definitely want to look at is that these are copper tinned. Rather than just being the regular steel. I don't know if the industry, if they even make straight copper wire anymore. I mean, well, they make it more, but it's so much more expensive. This is the way to get around it. But I like the twin leads so that I can run the positive and the negative in the same run rather than having to get two wires and twist them up. But we'll get that. We need to run it from the fuse box that was down there all the way across underneath the center console cowl, and then run it to right here. And you can see this had the power negative and positive on the cigarette lighter adapter. I hope it's the same size. All right, let's get going. So right now I'm just going to run the wire and just get the length of what we need. I'm not going to worry about running it yet, so that's probably going to be good enough there. I just need to see about how much we're gonna run it. It's always better to be longer than short. All right, so what I've decided is we're gonna run the wire underneath the center console cowl there, and then we'll run it up underneath the knee board there, and then we'll run it that way rather than going behind all the pedals and all that. We'll just zip tie it right here. It'd be less intrusive. And then we just need to run the wire. There's a lot of space right here, and that might be able to usable in the future. And run it underneath here, and then we've got our cigarette lighter adapter here. So let's get the cigarette lighter adapter out and see how ours fits in there. All right, that just pulled out. That's just a weird L-shape connector. We'll just leave that down there, and I'm probably going to mark it too, so in the future we know what it is. Now, how do we get this out here? It's probably some snap ring, and it just pushes out. There's little tabs on the side that you got to get around. Show you here. See these little tabs? You just got to get over the tab right there. That's just holding it in. So let's hope that's the same diameter. Let's check it out. All right, so this is not plug and play. This is just a slightly bigger. So what I think we're gonna have to do, we'll just open that up. So you'll have to find another power outlet if you want to plug and play and use the existing hole. This is a little bit bigger, so I don't mind drilling it out. So I got our step drill here, and we'll just need to we'll just test it. We'll drill a little bit, open it up, and test the diameter. I could measure it, but it's just easier just to drill and test as we go to make it fit. And then to see this retaining clip, this is what holds it in to the on the back side of it. So we'll take it off. Now it's just enough. It just needed one little step to get it going. So now we just take the retaining clip off here, and we slide it in. Perfect. Now I'm going to do it upside down, or at least the lettering upside down, because I want this flap to be down down at the bottom. I don't want it to be up here, because then it'll just fall down over time and get in the way. So I'm going to install it upside down, or even like that in an angle. That way the flap is here and not in my way. So on the back side here, we'll just add our ring. And we'll tighten it up. All right, so at this point we are in. If you wanted to use the old plugs, they're not at 90 degrees, so you can't use the old plug. You could cut the wires and and put new plugs on there, but you can't reuse it because this is at 90 degrees. So sorry about that. But we want constant power, so we're gonna have to make our own. So that comes with this. We got our heat shrink spade connectors. We need the 16 to 14, which is the blue, and we need the female versions of it because the males are on that side. So we'll get 2 of those. I like these because they have the heat shrink built into it. This is interior job, so it doesn't really matter as much, but if it was outside, that helps a lot keeping the water out. Alright, so we've got our wire. We feed that through. We pick the 16 to 14, which is the blue, on our crimpers. We crimp it, we do our pull test. It doesn't move. Then we heat it up. Don't want to burn it, just want to heat it up. Alright, we'll do the same thing for the positive side. There you go. Perfect. That looks a lot better. There you go, you got your 2 connectors. So we got our wires. We'll just go ahead and zip tie right here, since Toyota has nicely provided us a place to zip tie connector. They've got a nice little connector there. Alright, that should be good. And then we'll connect over here. I don't know if there's a positive or negative. We'll need to check. We got those plugged in. So I took a lunch break, and on my lunch, I was thinking about this project and had a few thoughts. One, I know I just willy-nilly plugged up the wires to the outlet, but I was thinking, yes, there is polarity to it, so you got to make sure that you get the right, see the negative on that side and the plus on that side. That needs to be coordinated with how you hook it up. So we're going to put the red on the positive and the black on the negative. So I make sure that's important, that it goes the right direction. And also, I was just thinking about if you're hooking the wires up to the fuse box, you probably could have just done a 1-wire situation where you just sent the power to a fuse, and then what you could have done was ground the outlet from here to your cigarette lighter, the old one. But you got to make sure you get the right ground, so that's where the power probe comes to figure out which is the ground and which is the power. So that's kind of important. But I'm going to go ahead and find a ground near the fuse box and run it that way, because these wires are a little thin, and so I'm not, and plus I don't know where this ground is going through, so I just want to ground it directly to the body. So that was kind of some of the things I was thinking about. Alright, so let's take the red, which is going to be our positive, and it goes on the brass lead. And then the negative is going to go on the silver lead. There you go. So that's perfectly set up. So we will get a little twist going on in the wire, like so. Leave a cigarette lighter there. And I don't know if I showed you before, I marked that for in the future as a cigarette lighter plug. Okay, so to find the ground, let's go ahead and take this kick panel off. Should just snap off here. And there's a screw right here. It's kind of a plastic nut that goes on the screw there. I'm gonna pull that out. There you go. Let's see what we can find here. Alright, so after pulling the kick panel off, I see we have quite a few. So the fuse panel is up there. We got a bunch of wire here. So I think this is a ground right here. I think we'll use that as our ground also. Alright, we got our power probe hooked back up to the battery up front. If we hit there is green, so that means it's negative. All right, so we got our 10 mil. Because pretty much everything in Toyota is 10 mil. Let's get it loosened up. All right, so let me see. I don't think our blue eyelets will work. Let me check it. So here's the deal. 10 millimeter, the blue eyelets don't fit on here. They're too small. But then I have to go up to the next step, which is the 10 to 12, which this is too big for the wire. So we'll just try and clamp it on. But if you can tell me, give me some better ideas, maybe there's a different eyelet that I can get bigger eyelet holes for the with the blue, which is for the 16 to 14 gauge wire. But this is all I have right now that will fit, and that fits actually perfect. But I wish this would be rated for the smaller wire. All right, so we got our length of wire here run to this side. Probably we can cut some of this off. It's too long. Right about there. And I'm more looking at how long the red wire is going to be, because it's going to go up to the fuse. So we'll cut it off there and we'll split it. All right, so we got it going here. We'll split the power to go that direction and the ground to go like this. So we'll cut that even more. We'll get our eyelet on there. Let's just hope it will clamp down enough. All right, that got good adhesion, I think. Pull test is good. It's holding. I think because it was a 14 gauge, it was all right. Close. If it was 16, it might have not been big enough. The wire might not have been big enough, so let's see how this shrinks up for us. It's so hot out today. You think that would shrink it? You wouldn't need a lighter. All right, so we'll put that back up with all our other wires. I think this is the thickest wire out here. I don't know if they use 14 gauge. It might be overkill, but I think it's all right. Okay. So again, we have our jumper that did not come with the set. We're going to add it to We're going to add it here. We're going to chop that off just a little bit. And we're going to strip it. And then we're going to clamp it, stick it in our blue wire there. And that should perfect. Give it a little tug test there. It's perfect. All right. So we got our 15 amp here. I need to pull the 25 amp. Let's see what we got. I got it out a little bit with the pick. I've got these small diagonal pliers. See if I can grab onto it. There you go. Oh my goodness. That's some interesting, what type of fuse is that? I don't even know if this is gonna work. Let's see here. That fits, but I need to get a 25 amp. I don't know if it fits, but we can test it. But I need to get a 25 amp to replace that one. This is like a micro mini. I've never seen that style before. All right, so I'm gonna add a 20. I didn't have a 25. We're gonna add a 20, which doesn't matter because we don't have a sunroof. If we had a sunroof, then that would be more of a concern. I'm gonna put that in there. I know it's kind of hard to see, especially with a wire in your way. There you go. We're gonna add this here. And now let's take the power probe and see what we got. We got a ground here on our wire. Let's see what we got over here. I'm gonna go ahead and take power side off. There. So it's getting power now. So I think that thing will work. Oh yeah. Also, you can check in there. We got power on our outlet. So I think that fuse will work. I'll have to look at up the name on those on that fuse. I've never seen one that where the legs are recessed up in there. But because we're using the minis, I think is what they're called. So we got power going to it. Let's button everything back up and give it a test. All right, here we go. We got our lightning cable for our iPhone. And hook it up. Hooked up there. We're gonna run it over here to our phone. It's gonna take 2 hands, I think. And there you go, we're charging. Yep, it's charging. Let's check the other outlets. Charging. Alright, so just to finish up, I was looking back at the other outlet. It even says on here it's 12 volts, 120 watts for this outlet. And the one we put in is only 65 watts. So I think that ground would have definitely been alright to connect to the original wire. But I still feel better just creating my own ground and running it to the chassis. Alright, here's the PS. I know we got everything put back just the way it was. The wire's tucked away, but the only issue is the fuse cover does not fit anymore because our jumper, or I guess splitter or fuse, additional fuse holder, sticks out past the fuse box. So we're just gonna have to stick this, I guess, in the glove box for emergency so we can read the numbers. So that's one other modification that's gonna happen by doing it this way. You had to make the hole a little bigger and then the fuse cover is not gonna fit, but minor things for getting constant power. I wanted to share a quick epilogue. After finishing filming the install, I was driving around testing it out. So I was putting my finger touching the outlet just to see how hot it was getting, just to make sure it wasn't overheating. And I noticed it was on like that, and then I was touching it, pushing down, and it shut off, and I'm like, oh no, I think I just created a short in there. So I was driving, couldn't do anything. I remember seeing a power symbol on the outlet when I first got it, but there was no tactile button on there. But then when I was driving around, I was thinking about it. I was like, that must be some type of inductive or capacitive button on there, which is true. So you just touch it and the power's on, which makes this 10 times even better. So this is no longer constantly on. You won't have a parasitic draw from the LED light, which is still going to be minimal. I wasn't worried about it. But if you are concerned about it, without having to put an inline switch, you have the switch already in here. So as a product, that definitely went up in my books. Definitely a 5-star. We'll see how long it lasts. That's the only thing I don't know about. But it has a switch already built into it. It's easy to install, and I mean, there's not much instructions, but it comes with fuses and all that. So I mean, it's a win in my book. It's good for marine, go-karts, side-by-sides, UTVs, trucks, cars, whatever. So if you like it, the link to the item will be in the video description below. You can check it out and get one for yourself. Till next time. And if you'd like to see more videos like the one that you just saw, you can check here and here. And remember the ABCs of making. Always be creating. Till next time.